All right, welcome back, Sierra Smith, to our weekly chat. And we're just going to talk about today. A lot of people are talking about on social media about entrepreneurship and W2 and kind of just talk to Sierra and kind of get her thought process on this. So, welcome back, Sierra.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm going to let you ask me some questions, I guess, as far as this goes, if you want to know my thought process. But I did, uh, I did see Zuber's video yesterday talking about Cody Sanchez and Ryan Pineda and Alex Hormozy and just that group of people and how they preach that entrepreneurship is kind of the path to financial freedom for most people. And that he felt like they were wrong, that a lot of people could leverage their W-2 in a more successful way.
Yeah, I saw that video also. And I think that's got me thinking too. And I think it just really depends too on where you're at in life. I think, he's talking about leveraging your W 2, but what if your W 2 is, some low paying job, that entry level position, and there's not a lot of growth there? So I think, a lot of it depends on where you're starting, but I also think it's just we're not taught to head down this path of thinking of entrepreneurship. And I think that's, where the mindset has to change a little bit because I think everyone might want to dabble in it, especially when they're younger, and see if that's better for them, if it suits them better.
Yeah, for sure. I read something interesting when I was kind of looking up um, more of the differences in the mindset between entrepreneurs and employees. And I read something interesting that said an entrepreneur will either achieve something big or learn a lesson, but either way, it's a win-win to them. So they just have that mindset of like, I'm not going to lose here because I'll either learn what I need to do better next time or I'll actually hit my goal. And then employees, they almost overthink things to the point where they lose interest in their idea. And I thought that was particularly interesting because I've seen that in real life happen a lot of times where people either, whether you say analysis paralysis or if you want to call it overthinking, but they have an idea, but then they start poking holes in it immediately and they don't ever take action on it. And it gets to the point where they eventually lose interest or don't think it will be successful because they've made up a bunch of hypotheticals in their head before they ever, took one step forward. And I don't know if that is something that is ingrained into a lot of people through our school system or through the how work and the employee employer dynamic is, but I'm not really sure where that comes from. I would have initially thought it was kind of a personality thing, but then when I read that, I was like, I wonder if it's just kind of innately taught to us to think, and not take action.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's the think part. I think it's just for me, I was always told how risky it was, to try and start a business or, you know, not get a stable W-2 job. So I think, like you're saying, I think it might just be what we're taught in school, and it's kind of just how we're led to believe that this is the better path, getting a W-2 job with benefits and a pension and whatnot. But it's just the risk tolerance of it. And for me, it was always like, yeah, it's whatever the number is, they tell you so much people that start businesses fail and whatnot. And I think, like you said, it's just ingrained in us at a young age.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Uh, and when it comes to like health insurance and benefits, like that's, one of the, or supposedly one of the advantages to the W-2 and is that benefit package. And I think that a lot of employees have learned the value in evaluating that part of their compensation versus just the pay scale.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit before we started recording, but when was your last W-2 job?
So my last W-2 job, I think was almost 8 years ago. I worked in mental health and I was working for a nonprofit um, that only worked with clients that had severe mental health issues. And that this was my second full-time job out of college. And so I was still in my early 20s. And I think when I left that one, I don't think I've had one since then. And part of that was because I didn't want to go back into the mental health field after having a child. And this, I mean, this just goes, my teachers had told me this. They were just like, after you have a kid, like you're gonna have a hard time working in child trauma and these with these severe mental health issues because like you can almost project it onto your own situation. And it's so true. I remember leaving that job and thinking like, I haven't seen a normal person in a very long time. Like, and I just thought that almost everyone was, driving around with like these horrible thoughts or couldn't function in society. So it was definitely kind of messing with me and like my ability to function in society. So I didn't want to go back to that. And that's kind of when I started dabbling more in entrepreneurship. And then I never went back.
Hmm. So you have a good view on maybe both sides of it. Like for me, I was just always a W-2. And even now, I don't really know if I would consider myself an entrepreneur, even though I'm trying to start these new things and dabble in these other endeavors. I don't really know if I'm actually an entrepreneur, you know. So I definitely fell for the W-2 and, benefits and retirement package. And that was kind of just the path I was headed down. And I definitely see there's a big difference in the way people might have to think if they're going to be an entrepreneur or a W-2 employee. So for you, maybe what is kind of the big differences that you might see?
So for me, I would say entrepreneurs are typically a little bit obsessive over starting new things, over maximizing things, over potential, over opportunity. Like it's just very hard to not think about those things. It's hard to have downtime. It's hard to like I think that they are, at least from my experience, I would say that's one of the major differences is that it is it's hard for them to actually get complacent. And they typically will just keep going and they want to be like ahead of the curve or on that learning curve like all of the time rather than just like master something and stick with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I definitely enjoy what I'm trying to start now. So I definitely see how that, lights the fire and you're just more interested in things. And I definitely see
Mhm.
how that's super important. I think for me, I really think it comes down to like one of the big things is like financial stability. Like I think that's kind of that mindset difference. There's like I said, I always thought like, starting a business or starting some kind of entrepreneurship is, you might not get paid for, 5, 10 years or something while you're trying to start something. So for me, it was always like, oh no, it's so risky and you want to go down this W-2 path and get this, pay raises every month and put money in your 401k and get all these health benefits. So for me, I think and for some people, that's better for them, right? Like that's what they
Oh,
want. They want,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So for me, I think that's one of the big differences is just realizing the stability of having a W-2 job. Whereas entrepreneurship, there's risk involved, but and sometimes in the beginning, you're gonna be pinching pennies and you're gonna be scrimping because you might not be getting paid in the beginning.
Yeah, the inconsistency and lack of routine that entrepreneurs deal with, I think, it takes that we're not adapted to operate that way like with our school systems or just with life in general we're kind of not really set up to have like a really haphazard lifestyle where you're constantly changing or having to do something different all the time unless you have a lot of freedom and that's hard especially once you have a family or if you're in any sort of we do all of these routines growing up with our families or through the school with our sports system and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of hard to make that pivot. But I think that most entrepreneurs, they are so compelled that they do it anyways, and they just deal with the results. Um, but I was going to say, what was I going to say? I had a thought. Um, hmm,
Well, how about you think about that real quick?
yeah, I had something.
Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about is, passion and purpose. Like I think that's kind of something where, the W-2 employee, um, some people are fortunate to be working a job that they're very passionate about and have found purpose there. But a lot of times I think people head down this path and they're kind of just stuck in this W-2 a lot of times because, maybe in the beginning they were passionate about it or was their purpose. And, life changes and things change. And kind of that's where I'm at. I definitely still enjoy the firehouse, but it's kind of shifted to where it's on the back burner now. And I found something else that I'm passionate about and my purpose. And that's kind of why I'm headed down this real estate and, starting a YouTube channel. But I think that's also something where it's a lot of it comes down to the way you think, right? As far as what your passion and purpose is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm of the mindset that you can integrate your purpose or your passion into any career that you need to, that it's not necessarily career based, but it takes a lot of inner work to get to that point. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have a little bit more control over how your passion and purpose is expressed. And when you're an employee, a lot of times, like, you're not high enough up on the ladder to have that same kind of control. And I feel like a lot of people can get stuck, um, frustrated with their W-2 job when they get to that point where they realize they have no more control over what they're doing, and it's kind of in the hands of someone else. And that, I think, for a lot of people is what makes them hate their W-2, not necessarily the work itself, but then that, like, battle for control over how their schedule looks or how their work is done and expressed. So, I think that mindset over people not liking their W-2 comes from that. And I was going to say earlier about when I've lost my train of thought, that I know is talking about um, people leveraging their W-2, but I also think it's interesting because, he's coming from a background of sales, and same with a lot of people on his channel. And when I think of sales positions, like, a lot of times I think of entrepreneurs because but they're just selling something for someone else. So they have that more stability, right? But then their schedule, their process, a lot of it mimics entrepreneurship and the mindset that they have. And so I think that it's kind of interesting because those are, usually commission-based positions, and you have more control over your income, and you're the one doing the work and exchanging your hours to get those bigger sales. So I think that it's interesting too that whenever he talks about, like, leveraging a high income W-2, that he's also coming from this background of, like, it's still kind of more entrepreneurship, or like entrepreneurship, than a lot of W-2 positions are.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's kind of what I want to touch on next. And it's exactly like, for me, being in the firehouse, it's a very stable paycheck, and but that's also why I'm trying to tell a lot of the younger guys, like, do things now and leverage that. And it's weird, and maybe a lot of people don't know about it, but like, for example, a lot of departments, they have to have certain manpower, certain amount of people working on the trucks at a certain time. So a lot of time there's overtime available also.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
trying to tell the younger guys, hey, I mean, I don't do overtime because I'm doing this other YouTube stuff and real estate stuff. But for the younger guys, I'm
Mhm.
telling them, take advantage of that, leverage it now while you're younger. Maybe you don't have a family, maybe you don't have kids, but use that, leverage that time, get extra money. And now, like you're saying, Zuber is coming from a high income, earning job in sales where he could generate more income also. But so I'm
Right.
trying to tell these young guys, leverage that and now get ahead. And then, you might not have to work overtime, in 5 years, and you can be enjoying all this time off that you have from the firehouse. And now you have the best of both worlds, right? You're getting this job that you love to be at, you're getting a pension, you're getting medical, but at the same time, maybe you leverage it into some rental properties now when you retire, you just increase the amount of cash flow you're going to have when you're retired.
Yeah, and that's a super easy way to increase your income without even having to go outside of your W-2 position.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's exactly kind of what you were talking about, leveraging and having a high income earning job. But yeah, so the firehouse, there is a lot of opportunities to work overtime. And a lot of guys make a lot of money. And there's a lot, I probably shouldn't be saying this type of stuff, but there's a lot of guys, a lot of regular firefighters that are making more than captains because of how much I mean, they do work a
They
lot of
do more work,
overtime.
right? Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, there are guys that are making a lot more than the captains just because of how often they're working. But yeah, it's available, and I try to tell young guys to take advantage of it while it's there, because sometimes it might go away for a little while when they hire more people. there's always guys retiring, there's always guys getting hurt and stuff. So overtime, it comes in waves, but it's available quite often.
That's
Anything, any other? Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's one reason Nathan has never wanted to take a salary position, but stays or tries to stay on hourly pay because when it comes to overtime,
Mm.
then the overtime rate is, he has some control over the ability to kind of increase his income, especially around the holidays or like, when those one-time expenses are due, like insurance, then it always makes it feel like those things haven't hit because like he has a little bit of control over increasing his income there if he's on hourly pay. So that's something that he's always thought about um, when considering like if he wanted to negotiate a salary or hourly wages. And he's worked at companies too that have offered unlimited overtime around the holidays, or they might open it up to a certain amount of hours. But that's always been nice, the overtime option.
Well, it's great that you bring that up now. So, since you are more, maybe seems like entrepreneurship, and Nathan might be a little bit more W-2, like how does that work? Do you see like a big difference in the way both of you think, or as far as long-term visions and whatnot?
I would definitely think differently. As far as long-term visions go, I mean, we try to align mostly on that, I think, for like as a family. Um, as far as like my long-term vision versus his, like I think it's still the same, like as much time freedom as soon as possible. And and then we both had the goal of, making sure that our kid could have a home whenever he was an adult. And that was kind of like the vision. Uh, but we think differently as far as I'm always looking at opportunity to capitalize on, and I need the flexibility so that I can do that. And and so like him being able to work remotely or from home to help with the kiddo, if I have something come up, like that's been very crucial to allowing me to be an entrepreneur without a lot of struggle to do so. So, but like even now, like trying to get him onto an entrepreneurial endeavor is very, very difficult. And he has a lot of skills that um, he could most definitely work for himself, but I don't know, he's just very good at his W-2 job, and he's getting paid well to do so, and having, the benefits through his employer always, that's it's all great. I mean, it's a win-win for us because we can have a little bit of both and we have the stability, but also have um, I have the opportunity to generate extra income kind of like on a whim. So it works out really well.
See, so as a unit, you're
Yes.
kind of exactly what Zuber's talking about, right? So you have this W-2, you're leveraging it by, starting an entrepreneur or a business or being an entrepreneur. So you are kind of like exactly what Zuber is trying to promote and tell people, hey, you can use your W-2 to leverage. So you and Nathan as a unit are basically this, this exactly kind of situation that Zuber is trying to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And if I could get real estate professional status and
Mhm.
offset the W-2 income some, like I mean we would be doing all of the tricks that are
Yeah.
available to us for sure.
Yeah. So even better, yeah. So I mean, I was going to touch on this next because I see Nathan helping you in a lot of your projects and whatnot. So do you think like he's found that balance? Like, is that maybe where some of his passion is? Like, being a handyman and helping you on things. So he's able to do his W-2, like you're saying, he's good at it. He makes good money, but because you're trying to do something on the side, he's able to kind of still do passion projects and find purpose in these other things that he enjoys.
I'm not sure. I would have to ask him. I would say, you know, because we started out, fixing up our own home. In my mind, I've always viewed it as like that's the honey-do list, and it's just
Mm.
really intense for him.
Oh,
It's just like really complex things, like can you, do a lot of electrical work or plumbing tonight, or like like it's not um like fix this doorknob kind of thing. So I would have to ask if it's like something that he finds really fulfilling. I would say it probably is. But but I've never really viewed it that way because his interests are probably more on the tech side of things. But he is handy and doesn't have any trouble, helping me with stuff. But when we're standing in the room, I'm definitely the one who's saying like, this is next, or can you grab that? Like I'm a little bit more on like I know what we need to do next. But I do need an extra set of hands to do that a lot of times.
No comment. I don't think that has anything to do with entrepreneurship and W-2, but I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, like I've told you this before, we are not the Chip and Joanna of home reno. Like that's not how it goes here.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, back to any other, maybe, for like you said, entrepreneurship W-2 that you see there's a big difference in mindset or traits that someone might have.
Oh, well, this might be a little bit of a hot button. But I
Oh.
have seen that entrepreneurs typically exhibit some narcissistic traits, the
Mm.
successful ones. And I want to say I even saw Millennial Mike hit on that in a video recently.
Yes, he
Uh,
did. He's a
but yeah,
police officer. Of course he's he has narcissistic traits.
right. No comment. Um, but yeah, so that's something that uh I've kind of thought was interesting, but I don't have a lot of insight to that necessarily. But it's kind of differentiating between like successful entrepreneurs and the employee.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, definitely, just putting yourself out there. I think people are gonna say that, right? Even, there's probably different levels to it, but of course, there's a big difference. But that's part of being an entrepreneur, and I think that, like you said, I think that's where some people might struggle. Like for example, I'm not gonna name names, but there's this other firefighter I worked with the other day, and he's starting something on the side. It just happened we were talking about. I'm telling him what I'm doing, and he's just like, oh, he's kind of like being secretive about it. Oh, like I started this project on Etsy and all this, and he just like he doesn't want anybody to know. And I'm like, oh, but how like how are you gonna get your brand out there? How are you gonna get what you're doing out there? And I think that's that hurdle that some people have to get over, and it is sometimes about you a little bit, right? And that's just comes to the territory, I think.
Yeah, I had tried to put myself out there like this, 10 years ago, I would have been way more sensitive, way more self-conscious. Like it would have come across as well. And I just think you can't do that in order to be successful. But I've also, have put myself out there and created accounts that no one I knew directly knew about. And that made it easier. So that's, for some people, like the fear of opinions of the people that are closest to them is what's holding them back. And so I can see this guy's point with not wanting anyone he directly knows to know what he's doing, and then just hope that like, he finds his people online and he doesn't have to worry about like the opinions of the people closest to him.
Who cares? Just do it.
No, it's a hard thing to get over, but once you do, I mean, once you have success, then it doesn't feel so bad. But a lot of I think people know themselves, right? So they know that their loved one could actually stop them from doing it, and they don't want that, right? So they're doing what they can to protect themselves from quitting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as people probably know already, I don't really care very much. So I'll just, whatever. It is what it is. What about learning style? Do you think there's a difference between entrepreneurs and W-2 employees?
Ooh, learning style. Um, I don't know. I
Hmm.
guess I haven't thought about that. I mean, intuitively, I would say like entrepreneurs are probably more hands-on learners, but I mean, I wasn't like that at all. I'm definitely more of a read and consume information as much as possible and um, very academic and book smart and not really uh, street smart at all. So I would say I don't know about a learning style. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, for like W-2 employees, it's kind of, there's one answer almost, right? Like, you have the problem, then there's an answer, a solution to it, and then that's it. Where I think entrepreneurship is constantly evolving and you're constantly learning and trying to figure things out. And there's never really one right answer, right? It's constantly you're just trying to maneuver and adapt and figure out what works best for you. And there's not really one clear answer. I think that's the big difference, and that's what I'm finding out. In the firehouse, there's a lot of structure and there's a lot of this is how things are supposed to be done. But and honestly, I guess there's a little bit of entrepreneurship in the firehouse because a lot of the great firefighter guys that I work with, they think outside of the box, right? Like they don't always, this situation is going to do this. They're always looking at it from all angles and trying to figure things out. And I think that's what entrepreneurship is about, is you're just trying to evolve and take things from other people, right? Oh, this person is doing this works for them. I'm going to see if it works for myself. And I think that's the bigger thing. And but I also think that's why the W-2 is a little bit safer and simpler because you're kind of given this structure and this is the way something is supposed to be done.
Yeah, I could see that where W-2 employees operate in the black and white more, and entrepreneurs operate in the all that gray area.
Yeah. That's kind of what I think I struggle with in the beginning. As I still am. I'm very structured. Like, I wake up at the same time and I do certain things and it used to always have to be a routine. And like you're saying, like now, a lot of times like I'm trying to, accommodate you folks as far as scheduling times to do things. And so
Hmm.
my schedule is not always the same, and you got to just figure out ways to make it work for you. And I think that's one of the big things is understanding yourself. I think you have to know how you operate, and too many people, like the W-2, things have to be done a certain way a lot of times, right? You clock in at 9, you leave at 5, and for some people that works. And that's why I said for me, that's what I did my whole life. There was structure to it. And so doing entrepreneur, sometimes it like when someone says, "Oh, I can only schedule a call at this time," and I'm like, "Man, that's my workout time or something," right? And it throws my whole day off. But then that's being able to adapt, and I think that's part of what being an entrepreneur is. You just have to be a little bit flexible as far as because you are working with a lot of other individuals a lot of times, and you're not working
Yeah.
just on your schedule until
Yeah.
you make it. Maybe then you can call the shots like, no, I can only do an interview at this time. And so
Yeah.
in the
And I'm a
beginning
hundred
it's a
thousand
struggle.
dollars for that
Yeah.
hour. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I think just like anything in the beginning there's a lot of struggle, and until maybe you make it and then you call the shots. And I think that's everyone's ultimate goal. And that's where the flexibility, like you're saying in the beginning, maybe you don't have a lot of balance, maybe you don't have a lot of that, where W-2 you have this life balance and you do have certain amount of time off. When you start an entrepreneurship, you're like 24/7 trying to work on things and figure things out. And but yeah, when you do hopefully make it, right now you have all this time freedom.
yeah, and hopefully you love the process, right? Hopefully you don't get into it and think that it has to be a grind. I think that's where a lot of people fail is they get into something thinking they want to start a business, but they don't really love it the way that they should in order to work 24/7 or but that's kind of the ideal scenario is that you're whatever you're pursuing is something that you want to be a part of your lifestyle anyways. And so for, if relationships with people aren't really at the forefront, if you kind of want to be like not um, working with people, then I think you're gonna have an interesting journey and you might not like it so much. But I think if you like, like this, like all the interacting with people and scheduling with people and having to be, pulled all these different directions, if you enjoy the people that you're doing it with, then it's not so bad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I said, I kind of always go back to you have to understand yourself. Like for me, like I said, a lot of times I needed routine and structure. And that's why, like I told you the last time, I'm going to just wear this same jacket hoodie thing to simplify things. I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. And wherever I'm at, I can just throw it on. And anybody that's watching this and not listening, I didn't tell Sierra she has to wear the same exact thing as me almost, from now on. So, yeah, so I'm going to wear the same thing. I can promote my friend's clothing line, but at the same time, it simplifies things for me where I I don't have to think about anything. So,
I mean, I will be wearing something else next week, but as I always do.
yeah, but I didn't tell you to wear a black hoodie thing.
No, no, I made my own clothing choice this morning. But I'm like you, where it's like right before I get on to record, I'm like, oh, what haven't I worn in the last
See?
like 3 or 4
See?
videos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
see?
I mean, I can't remember where it came from, the story of, someone who, just wore the same white t-shirt and like
Yeah, I think it
black
was
pants or whatever.
Zuckerberg or
Yeah,
however
yeah,
you
yeah.
say that.
Right. So, I mean, there's some truth in not having to have that decision on your plate every week.
Yes. And we also talked about for females it's different because
Yeah.
you guys are going to criticize each other. If Sarah comes on here with the same outfit every time and the same hairstyle every time, she's going to be criticized in the
By
comments
the other
maybe.
two girls that watched this channel.
One? I don't know. I don't
There
know if
might be one.
they Yeah. Well, uh,
Well, I need it. That's what I need is a uniform. I just need something with my logo on it, and then no one will
yeah,
care.
see,
Yeah.
you got to get your logo on it. Ooh, I better not. Nah, maybe I better not say this on camera.
You can say it
No, I don't
after.
want anybody to steal it. That's why.
Oh.
Nobody watches. What about what about Hawaii 5-0?
Oh, I like it. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
That's a
what
good
could the
one.
O be? Like I'm thinking financial independence opportunities.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, wouldn't it be, what does the O stand for? Is it a zero? That's what I was thinking.
Like 5-0, yeah. Like yeah, the number 5.
And the
Yeah.
number is it, but
I
is
mean
the
it's a
O a
zero.
zero?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a zero.
Okay.
But I would just put well, I guess I mean I don't know. What would the number yeah. Well, I don't know. For some reason it popped into my head. I was like,
I
ooh, I
like
like
it
that.
though.
Yeah. See, I gotta edit that out, maybe. Maybe I'll
Yeah, I
beep
would.
that part out when I'm saying
There you go.
it.
Then people
Yeah.
can guess. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right, well, leave your guesses below what you think his new handle might be.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to say on the W2 entrepreneurship? You know,
No, this had me thinking about if people are creators or consumers, and so maybe we can talk about that another time.
sure. Yeah. Creators or consumers? Huh. Well, we'll see what ChatGPT says on it.
Well, yeah, that's where you get your talking points.
No, not
But yes,
recently.
a little bit.
Trying to come up with it ahead of time to give you a little
I know
opportunity.
I
But
do a
you
little
didn't
bit better when
reply.
we're
You
not
didn't
winging it.
reply. So I was like,
Well, I
well,
read it and I prepared.
I didn't know. I was like, huh, I don't know if she even knows. But yeah, I don't know. Elf on the Shelf, how's that going?
Good. We have low standards for our elf. So, I mean, our elf isn't crazy or doing anything really obnoxious. Uh, she,
Hmm.
uh, she took a letter to the North Pole last night, so she's not even here today.
Oh, I saw a good one. This is gonna be like my final day that I have my son, whichever. I don't. I gotta plan it out. But I saw a good one. It's like the elf sitting with a note that says I forget what it says. Something like only kids. I wrote this in like magic ink, where only kids can see it.
Oh, nice.
And it's like I spread magic dust on your parents. So if you ask them for ice cream for dinner, they will say yes. Go see if it works or
That's
something like that.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So that's going to be my final one, I think.
So,
But
what kind of ice cream are you gonna have?
oh, yeah. I don't know. I got to think about that. Oh, he likes chocolate mint.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Most
not
kids
really a
don't like,
kid
yeah.
flavor.
Yeah. He likes mint. I don't know. I don't know how. Yeah. Even like he likes those breath mints. And when he buys
Uh,
gum, chewing gum, he likes the mint flavors.
oh, my kid hates chewing gum. Oh,
Really?
yeah. He like chews it twice and spits it out. He's not about it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know I don't know. He just likes mint for some
Hmm.
reason.
Well,
Yeah.
do you like mint chocolate chip stuff?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't think I liked it when I was 8 years old, though.
Yeah, no. I didn't know if that rubbed off on him.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know where he got that from, but yeah, definitely not at 8. I mean, it was pretty much
Yeah.
strictly chocolate.
Or like the trifecta, right? The chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, like
Yeah,
mixed
what was that
together.
Neapolitan?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me see. What today's the third? Oh, we'll talk. Oh, we'll see if we talk before Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, I
But
should be here, so I probably can.
cool. All right. Well, yeah. Tell your son. Let you know when I message, and since he
Yes, I
swipes
will.
right past it, and
What I need to do is actually put your contact in my phone as like your little firefighter icon. Because like when you tag me and stuff on Instagram and your icon pops up, he's like, "Oh, the firefighter,
oh,
it's messaging
hmm,
you." But I don't have it like that in my phone, like on the contacts. So I think if I put your icon on there,
uh,
he'll tell me.
or you just need an Apple Watch. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be. I have a Garmin. It would at least tell me when you text. I haven't charged it in
Oh,
a while.
hmm. All right. Well, this was fun as usual, but hopefully you wear something else next time because we have like the same thing on
Here you
almost.
said the guys would not comment on my outfits.
Well, I'm just saying,
I'm a black hoodie is
this isn't,
not like
well, this,
trademarked.
I don't want people thinking this is like the secret passport bros uniform or outfit or, yeah, we're having a secret
Okay.
meeting tonight.
Right. The
No,
passport bros and me.
no, yeah. Oh, I don't know if you're probably busy. It's gonna be late at night for you though. I don't know. We're just gonna goof around and do a live at like what time would it be for you? Oh no, I told Joel the wrong time. I think for you it'd be 9 o'clock p.m.
All right. Well, you can send me a link. I might hop on, but
Yeah, it's gonna be like me. No, it's gonna be like me. You know Frank Contreras? He's
no.
always in that. Oh, a couple old rap people, but Mikey, Frank, Cody Evers. He just had an interview at Zuber also.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be like four of us. I don't know because they've been doing like weekly stuff. I was like, hey, what the hell, man? What?
I
Let
didn't
me
know that.
know. Yeah.
On his
So
channel.
no, they just been having their own little Zoom chats, I think.
Oh, they're just like they've started a mastermind.
Yeah. So I said,
Okay.
oh, let's just goof around. Let's do it live. And they're like, oh, okay. So we're just gonna
Well,
goof
yeah, you
around
can send
tonight.
me a link. Send Joel the right link
We'll
for the
have
right
to get
time.
permission from the grandmasters,
Oh my
see if
goodness.
it's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Well, then I may or may not show up.
Ooh, we're letting a girl in. I don't know. Let's see what they say.
Oh boy.
All right,
Good.
this is getting out of hand.
No girls allowed.
Uh,
Whatever.
what 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 was the Married at Children? No, ma'am. It might be you might be too young. Did you ever
I
watch?
watched that, but I
Oh,
was little. Yeah.
yeah. So they used to have their men's with the then their t-shirt said "No, ma'am."
Yeah, I don't remember that. My parents would probably because I think they're the ones who had it on, but
That show would never make it today.
no.
We can't. Yeah, they'll never make it.
Oh, no, ma'am. All right. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Call
Yeah.
it, wrap
Well.
it up.
All right. Well, we'll see everyone next week. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.